By now, we know and we've discussed, and pretty much everybody involved with the film has stated as such. Originally, Sony was going to just drop Spider-Man, played by Tom Holland, into Venom Let There Be Carnage, and he was gonna be one of the main plots of the film. That didn't make sense. Now we find out exactly how close we got to getting that, and it was literally like at the 11th hour. So this comes directly from Andy Serkis, the director of Venom Let There Be Carnage, and he's already talked a little bit about the fact that up until they started production on Venom Let There Be Carnage, things were in flux all over the place. Decisions still had to be made. Spider-Man at one point was considered for multiple roles in the film. How do they use him? Do they put him in this aspect? Is he a main character? Is he like a character that's integral to the plot or just something happening on the side? And recently he also revealed that when it came to that, it got a lot more dire to figure out what to do with the character, let's put it that way. Essentially, right when they started shooting, they had to make the decision. Do we add Spider-Man to this film right now, here and right now, we make it official and then we add him to the film, even though he's not part of the script, or do we sort of do what we were doing before, and that's tease an inevitable crossover? And that's when the decision was made. We're not going to throw him in here. We're going to take our time, so do not include him in the film. And then they started shooting. So literally, the 11th hour. Like, that's the definition of 11th hour on the spot. They had a script, which is the script we got. It's the film we got. But Spider-Man was literally still considered to be added to that somehow, and they would have just shoehorned him in once they started shooting, had they given, themselves the thumbs up and Sony said, fine, just do it. So obviously this thing was sort of spiraling out of control when it comes to production, is the best way I would put it. Like, you don't know if you want to include your biggest character in this film, and you're waiting till the day you start shooting to tell the director and the cast that he may or may not be a giant factor of your next film. Like, that's pretty insane. But again, that's sort of the Sony way of handling it. And if you just look at the history, quite clearly Sony was willing to do whatever with Spider-Man once they gave the middle finger to Disney, and then they fought over it very publicly. So this kind of makes sense that Sony would have this knee-jerk reaction, but at the same time, can you imagine how terrible this film would be? Like, even worse. Like, it just wouldn't make any sense at all if Spider-Man just shows up and he's Spider-Man, but not the one you just saw elsewhere. Just the same actor. Like, whew, that would have been rough.